Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlicker, chills, dead slave, search, peasants, vassals, minions, meat sacks. I'm Usually Welcome. And about 2 weeks ago, I did a video about the fact that the attempted assassination of Donald Trump was not a grand, epic failure of ineptitude. It was a botched deep state hit. And all the information I gathered 2 weeks ago was damning enough, but everything that's come out since then makes it absolutely conclusive that not only was it a botched deep state attempted assassination on Donald Trump, but all the people involved on the ground were in on it in one way or another, and they also were being directed by someone further up. And of course, the testimony of former Secret Service leader Cheadle, everything that she did as well, shows that this attempted assassination went all the way to the top. And of course, we'll never know who was involved and how far up it goes. And as we know, Biden is not in charge of anything. He hasn't been in charge of anything for 4 years. And so this could potentially be a completely independent rogue operation by deep state elements in the CIA and the FBI and the Secret Service. But it was clearly all orchestrated. So some of the information that's come out since then, of course, is that previous to the firing of the weapon on the roof, this guy Crooks flew a drone over the area. And as we know, if you fly a drone, for example, at an NFL game, you'll get hunted down and you'll get arrested. And that's just at an NFL game. So the fact that this guy was able to fly a drone over and scope out the premises and not immediately be hunted down and arrested is completely damning. And then, of course, we have the fact that Cheadle said all the radio communications tapes are all lost. And so that's a dead giveaway, too, that they're covering up everything as fast as they can to make sure nobody finds out that it does go all the way to the top. Then we find out that Mayorkas, that completely inept Homeland Security leader who's contributed and oversees the complete disaster on the border, he was the one that was involved in having actual Homeland Security agents involved and not just local police and Secret Service. So once again, completely damning that they set it up that the people protecting Trump would be completely inept, and that was orchestrated. And then we also have the audio forensics that have come out that supports theories that popped up right away as well, that there were more than one shooter. And the audio forensics show that there were 3 shooters. And one of the possible shooters could potentially be the mystery woman in the bleachers. There's a number of eyewitnesses that talked about a woman in the stands who was shot in the hand or had a bloody hand, and this person has disappeared. So there's eyewitnesses that saw her in the stands, saw the damage to her hand, and yet this witness is completely vanished from the narrative. And then, of course, we also have the roof video that's come out now that shows that not only was it perfectly easy for any counter snipers to be on that building with its sloped roof, but also it shows that anybody inside the building could easily look out there and spot anyone. And yet nobody saw Crooks on the roof, and yet the window is like 10 feet away, and anybody in there would have a clear shot at Crooks, certainly long before he got into position and fired off any rounds. So once again, totally damning. And then we find out that the SWAT team itself had no communications with the Secret Service. So once again, that shows some complicity and some collusion in there and an orchestrated event when the SWAT team there had no communications whatsoever with the Secret Service agents. And then also, just in the last week, we find out that for 25 minutes, the Secret Service didn't notify anyone, and they didn't notify anyone in Trump's detail, his immediate protective detail, about the fact that they've singled this guy out. They have photographs of him there. They have video of him there. He was seen using a rangefinder, sizing up the premises, and they basically just gave this guy a free pass to go up on the roof and take a shot at Trump. And then we also have the fact that the counter snipers were aware that the shooter was up there, and there's communications that so they were fully aware that this guy was up there, and they were aware of Crooks for 90 minutes, an hour and a half before the shooting, and they all let it happen. And they even took photos, as I mentioned, and circulated amongst all the security in the area. They took photographs of this guy uh, over an hour before the event took place, and yet he was still allowed to go up there and do this. So everything considered, there's just even to factor in some ineptitude, even to factor in giving benefits of the doubt, even factoring in this entire clusterfuck. There is no doubt whatsoever. There wasn't any before, and now 2 weeks later, it's absolutely confirmed. This was a deep state hit job on Trump. Uh, a lot of the groundspeople and security, from Homeland Security to the local cops to the Secret Service to the SWAT teams to the sniper teams, were all complicit in this, and and that points to the fact that it was completely orchestrated, and that the orders and the entire setup were orchestrated from the top. And they go up, certainly go up to the Secret Service head Cheadle, who resigned. She's a great puppet. Of course, she used to be a corporate leader for Pepsi Cola, and then somehow she ends up in the Secret Service. So a perfectly groomed puppet, just go along with that, whatever the deep state wants. And then we know the orders came from above her. So this conspiracy, an actual real conspiracy, goes all the way to the top. And when I say all the way to the top, once again, I reiterate, it doesn't go all the way to the top to Biden. He's oblivious. He's been oblivious for 4 years. This was an operation by the deep state going all the way up to the top. So, and then as one would expect, I have to mention, of course, the complete media clusterfuck, especially liberal media, talking about the fact that it was a hoax. It was orchestrated by the Trump campaign to gain him sympathy, that the glass flew up from the teleprompter, and then we even have the FBI. That's another example of why this is a deep state conspiracy. We have an FBI director who should know better than anyone, suggesting that Trump was hit by shrapnel, not a bullet. Unbelievable. And of course, the obvious question is shrapnel from what? So anyway, what a complete disaster. This is another deep state assassination attempt, like many other throughout American history, that we'll never find out the answers. We'll never find out who is responsible, and it will become part of the urban legend. And nobody will be held accountable. Nobody will be prosecuted, and that's just how it works in America. So what a travesty, and what a diabolical event to unfold in our time here in the 21st century. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too?